Welcome to Studio 58A Live here at the Jamaica Information Service, our discussion program coming to you live on Facebook. I am your host, Vaughn Davis. Thank you to everyone joining us online wherever you are. We really do appreciate it. Thank you for your eyes. And like how we have your attention, do us a favor now. Share this video with a friend or two or 500 so we can have a very lively discussion. And as you watch, remember to send in your questions and your comments so we can put them to our guests. Now, one of the government's major objectives is to make it as easy as possible to do business in Jamaica. The idea, simply put, is that the easier it is to set up and run a business, the more our people will be persuaded to come out of the informal space and start operating in the formal business environment. That means registering your business as a proper legal entity, paying the necessary taxes and fees, and so on. Now, if you're an informal operator, you're probably asking yourself why you should do that, especially if you have to pay money and it's going to cost you. Well, the simple answer is this. There are lots of benefits to be gained, such as access to financing to grow your business, the ability to grow your client base, because many people and companies will only do business with legally operating entities. And so, essentially, the more businesses operating in the formal space, the better it is for our economy and the better it is for all of us. So we can agree that making it easier to do business in the country is a win for all of us. Now, one of the ways the government is making it easier to do business is by making it easier to actually register your business. And that's through the use of an electronic business registration form. Here today to tell us more about the form and its benefits are CEO of the Companies Office of Jamaica, Ms. Judith Ramlogan. And also to help us contextualize this initiative within the government's wider efforts to make it easier to do business in Jamaica is Principal Director of the Public Sector Modernization and Transformation Program in the Office of the Cabinet, Mr. Wayne Robertson. Welcome to both of you. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much for having us.
All right, so let's just begin at the beginning for those of us who may not necessarily know it. Ms. Ramlogan, I'm going to start with you. Can you just give us an idea of what the function of the Companies Office of Jamaica is?
Well, the Companies Office of Jamaica has as its mandate the registration and regulation of companies and business names, and also to provide information on those entities. That's the simple explanation.
All right. And so within the context of that, how does the electronic business registration form fit?
Well, the electronic business registration form is really supposed to make it easier for a person to either register a company or a business name, because it is an electronic form, so you go online. No need to come into the company's office to come and to submit paper forms to register your business. And it means that people abroad, overseas, can register a company or a business name in Jamaica as well.
So it's basically moving things into the technological, taking advantage of the technology to make things much easier, as you say, easier to do business.
Right.
All right. So in terms of, can you give me a little bit of the background? Either one of you can take this in terms of the background which led you to move in this direction, to bring in this kind of form at this time.
All right. Well, I would go back a little into history. In 2014, the government of Jamaica introduced the one-stop shop, which is really form, paper form, one form to register and to not only register with the company's office, but to register with all the startup agencies. So the TAJ, Tax Administration, you'll be registered with them. If you are opening a business name or a company, you will be registered for NIS. You'll be registered for Heart Trust contributions and for NHT contributions.
All those usual statutory deductions, that kind of thing.
Right. So what it would mean is that you come to one place and you are registered. When you're finished with the registration process, you are registered with all those agencies. No longer having to travel, right, and wait for the individual registration. So that happened in 2014. But that was a manual, a paper form, right? So the electronic business registration form is just bringing that form online.
So people can just take advantage. Bring us to the digital age so we can just do things quickly and more efficiently. Now, some of it's, give me an idea. Well, let me just say something online here. Lois A. Clark tuning in. Appreciate your eyes, Lois A. Clark. She's asking, why does Mr. Robinson's face look so stern? It's only an interview.
Stern.
Yeah, I don't know.
Thanks for the feedback.
Yeah, as you can hear, Miss Clark, so he's hearing you. So I'm sure he might adjust his face.
Hi, Miss Clark.
All right. Now, in terms of what are some of the benefits? I mean, when you see people being able to do this online. I mean, naturally, one would immediately think, okay, this makes things easier. I don't have to travel. I don't have to go up and down, and just that eliminates the traveling and the time and the efficiency and so on. But I'm sure there are other benefits. Or some of the other benefits that you found?
Well, it is it's one form, so the process is simpler because we're moving from, I think, 13 different forms to one.
Yeah.
Right, so the process is simpler. You can do it yourself, right? I don't know if people remember, but before long ago, if you wanted to register a company, you would have to produce articles of association and memoranda of association. Those were long forms, and you would have to get a professional to complete those forms for you. Right, I just want to say that I'm not knocking the professionals, right? And you really should consult with them because forming a company is a legal matter,
right,
and you really should get legal advice. But as it relates to completing the form, it's simplified, right? So you can do that on your own, right? So that's it. I really would like to see the most important thing is the time,
Yes,
because you would register at the company's office. And then you would have to visit all these other agencies. I think research showed that it took about 8 additional days for you to be registered with all the agencies. Now with the business registration form, you can even get your company registered in the same day.
All right.
Yes.
So there you can see, ladies and gentlemen, things are moving at pace. As you said, the goal is to make it easier to do business. Let me bring you in, Mr. Robertson. Can you contextualize this initiative in the wider context of, as we said, making things easier to do business and transforming the public sector itself?
Thank you so much for having me,
All right.
and the team from the Cabinet Office.
Right.
Well, first of all, the Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Program under the Office of the Cabinet has as its core and we focus heavily on improving efficiencies within the public sector in terms of operational activities. At the end of the day, we cannot frustrate the persons who do business with the government. We must make it easier to do business. Whether you are going to the company's office to register your business, you're going to Tax Administration Jamaica to pay your tax, or simply going to RGD for your birth certificate. We want to make those processes simple. So we carry out business process re-engineering. We work with the ministries, departments, and agencies to build capacity generally, training workers, looking at their operations generally, and making recommendations. We have 4 thematic areas: trade and investment, facilitation, and service excellence, under which this project falls, very critical. It looks at ensuring that we look at those areas in terms of business facilitation and ensuring that we cut the fat, eliminate red tape. So this project, you can understand where we're going in terms of direction, making it easier for persons to register their business online. We use, very importantly, ICT as an enabler. Under ICT transformation, that's another thematic area. So you will see ICT being a very critical ingredient infused in all our operations. And that's the second thematic area, ICT transformation. The third is human resource management and institutional strengthening, looking at things like HCMES. You can now get your pay slips online. You don't have to physically go to accounts for that. For example, by providing that sort of platform. That's just an example. We're looking at a public sector learning framework, looking at the whole, everyone within the public sector will eventually fall under a professional grouping.
Okay.
And that's where we're going. We're working with the Management Institute for National Development, MIND, to ensure that we look at that area of capacitating our workers, positioning MIND as the training agency for the public sector. That's the third thematic area. The fourth being managing public sector costs in terms of increasing economy and efficiency in government expenditure. You'll hear a lot about increasing costs and overruns, and we have to be cutting the fat in those areas, making recommendations, employing strategies which seeks to address those areas. The government must be more efficient generally.
Fundamentally. That's the
And
fundamental
we're talking about
objective.
cost, but we're talking about other areas of operational efficiencies
right.
as well.
So in terms of from the project itself, I mean, it's being implemented in a phased way. I mean, it's a massive, because our public sector has about some over 200 MDAs,
Correct,
right? So it's
correct.
not exactly a small project, something that requires a very steady
It's a
hand and
program,
hand.
actually.
Right.
Yes.
It's something that requires some deep, a lot of work in a nutshell.
A whole lot of work.
So based on, can you give us an overview of, I suppose, where you are along the process, or what the plan or what the framework itself looks like, and where you are in that process, if you understand what I mean?
Yeah, so we are currently towards the end of our 5-year program, which ends next March. And we're looking at preparing ourselves for the new planning period, which commences. Well, the planning period basically commences now. We actually started our pre-planning.
Right.
You can understand how government works with the budget call being issued and planning calls. And,
Right.
And so we have to now organize ourselves. So we are going towards the end of a 5-year program. It's a rolling over program. We have also been engaged in the Planning Institute of Jamaica around the vision and, Vision 2030 goals and priorities. So we have started that dialogue, and we are going to be, elaborating upon that process.
All right.
We are very advanced in the process of that 5-year program, and many of our projects under that program have ended and are coming to an end. The electronic business registration project is one of those projects which will culminate with the launch on August 7th by the Most Honorable Prime Minister.
All right.
We're also working to establish a regulatory body under the Government Electrical Inspectorate project, working with the Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology. So what we're doing is automating the system as it relates to inspect, the application process. So it no longer be manual. It's not going to be automated. Again, that's another area
I'm
where
going to stick up in right now. I'm going to
Yes.
come right back to you because, as we said, this is a very wide-reaching
Yes.
email. I want to let me just show some love to persons online who are watching in and tuning in. Of course, you said Lois Clark, Annette Fraser watching from Florida. Thank you, Annette. Really appreciate your eyes. I don't know how to pronounce this. ITHZ Jadan, making waves of progress in the economy. So apparently people are appreciating the work that you are doing.
Yes, sir.
Annette Fraser.
Thank you.
Now, one person asked a question. If you had a company, Marsha Cute Girl Lewis, appreciate your question, Marsha. If you had a company and you are no longer in business, how do I cancel? I suppose you can take that one, Ms. Ramlogan.
Right. So if you have a company and you are no longer in business, you really should indicate that to the company's office and to the tax office as well. And if you can prove that you have no assets or liabilities, then the COJ can remove your company from the register.
All right, so it's not as you might have been wondering if it's difficult, but it's not. So as Ms. Ramlogan just outlined, it's a fairly simple process. Now, Ms. Ramlogan, I want to ask you in terms of registration of companies. How do you see, how is that happening? How is that coming along based on what you see, having putting this new platform for persons to take advantage of the process? How is it going? Are you satisfied with the performance of the platform so far?
Well, Vaughn, I just want to say that you can presently register a business name online. You can't, well, we're hoping that and we're working towards you're being able to register a company soon, right? So it is not going, well, I should say that a lot of people don't really know because we have not publicized, right? So a lot of people are not, general public is not aware that you can register a business name online. So the take-up is slow, right? But we expect that with the launch, then there will be more publicity and more people will know that you can register a business online. We're also hoping that pretty soon you'll be able to register a company online as well.
Okay.
Right, but there will be a massive sensitization campaign so that people will know that you can register. And I just want to say also that for those of you who have no internet access at your home or at your office, you can go to at least three tax offices now, right? the tax office in Montego Bay, the tax office in Twickenham Park, and the tax office at Constant Spring. And you'll be able to, we are establishing kiosks there. And so you'll be able to go to any of those tax offices and start the registration process.
Excellent.
All right, so we have somebody online showing you some love. Patricia Senior Tomlinson, appreciate your eyes, Patricia, really do. You hear that, everyone? With the introduction of the registration of this form online, you may register your business located in Jamaica online. I am all for this. This saves time and lessens frustration. Good move. Thank you, JS, for educating me today. Well, you are welcome. Really appreciate that. And to think I just clicked on the video to be nosy. Good luck with the implementation. I really appreciate your eyes. So tell your friends, like, oh, we have your attention. Send it to your friends, somebody else who might benefit from this information, because that's what we're here for. And if there's any other question or any related subject that you want to find out about, that's what we're here for. Let us know, and we'll try as best as possible to have the necessary persons in studio so they can answer all your questions. All right, Patricia, keep watching. Really appreciate it. Now, again, Ms. Ramlogan, in terms of what are you seeing? I'm a big fan of data, and I mean using the data to guide whatever decisions that you make. In terms of registration of our companies and so on, what are you seeing? Are you seeing more persons taking advantage of the opportunity to bring their companies or bring their activities into the formal sector, register themselves and get basically
we
take
are
advantage,
seeing that. We are seeing an increase both in the number of companies being registered and in the number of business names being registered. We are seeing that. I would say about 5 years ago, the number of business names being registered might have been about 3,000 or 4,000. Now it is 9,000 per year.
Per year. So persons are taking that step, that entrepreneurial step to go out there and do what they're doing.
A lot of young people are doing that.
All right. So, Mr. Robertson, when you see that and you see that the effort, it suggests that the work you guys are putting in is paying off. So what does that elicit from you when you see this, and what does that in turn spur you to do as the agency looking to make this transformation more widespread and and more impactful?
It means that the customers see this they're using the technology, first of all. So if a very important indicator is whether or not, and an important test is whether or not clients of the government are utilizing the solutions that have been created in terms of numbers, in terms of uptake. Now, if the numbers are low, that says something about, do we need to sensitize people, what is happening, and surveys would tell us exactly what is happening. So we use that as a very important indicator, persons. So we even launched this GOJ portal, which is an online gateway to access all government information and services. What we do is periodically check to see the number, the hits, how many persons are visiting the site. We're seeing a steady increase, which says something that we're doing something good. So an important indicator for the electronic business registration system is the number of persons utilizing that online solution that has been created by the government. And so we have to be mindful of that. So we have to look at the data, the long and short of it, and ensure that we are listening to our clients, because we also have feedback mechanisms that we also have in place, and we have to be guided accordingly.
So relative to, I guess, maybe the rest of the region and so on, how are we doing in terms of, I guess I want to just compare in terms, you must be able to compare in terms of the operation or the activities or the efficiency rather of our public sector, and because that will give you the benchmark as to where we're going and so on. So
number one in the Caribbean in doing business. We are ahead of all Caribbean countries as it relates to public sector reform. We beat up ourselves a lot, about what we're not doing.
We do.
But we're actually ahead of. I recall some years ago, even with local government reform, we beat up ourselves with that too. We are ahead, and the region look to us for guidance and leadership in that area as well, local government reform. So I'm just giving an additional example.
Absolutely.
As it relates to public sector reform generally, yes, we are ahead. I just want to make a quick point about our ranking in terms of ease of doing business as published by the World Bank in the Doing Business report published annually. We are currently ranked number 6. We are ahead of many first world countries. Exactly. And I'll just name some. Sure. We are ahead of the USA, who is ranked 53. We're ahead of the United Kingdom.
camera and tell
That
them.
is
People might
ranked
not believe me.
19. Many persons don't know that. We're ranked ahead of China, who is ranked number 20. And France as well. France is ranked number 30. Switzerland at 77.
All right, so we're doing.
That's just
things in
an
the-
example of so we have come a very far way, and with this implementation, we will see further gains, further improvements in our ranking. So I just wanted to put that out there because we take a lot of things for granted as Jamaicans, but Jamaica is moving progressively forward.
No, I understand that the EBRF, which is the Electronic Business Registration Form, is the first of its kind in the region, based on what I've seen. Is this so, or am I way off base here?
Well, Dominica has a system. Miss Ramlogan collaborate.
Well, as far as I know, no, there might be other jurisdictions that have a online registration system, right? I think St. Lucia, for some types of companies, has an online registration system. But what they don't have is a one-stop shop.
Exactly.
Right? So Jamaica is the only Caribbean country or country within CARICOM that has a one-stop shop.
Very important.
No, I understand it has some very nice features that makes it a lot more user-friendly. I wonder if you can get into some of those for me, Ms. Ramlogan. From what I'm seeing, it has a simple online wizard, simple online form with a help wizard, among other things that will make it easier for persons to use and navigate and so on.
Right. Well, so the thing I like about it, and I am sure the thing that that the customers will like, is that there are what do you call it? Validation, right? Validation. So you can't. There are certain. So if the form is validated and there are certain things that can't be validated, it won't be submitted. So there is no. So because to be honest, our customers have a problem with what they call multiple rejections.
Okay.
Right? Is that you submit a form and it's rejected for this, and then you submit it again, it's rejected. So so the online registration form will
Guide you through the
prevent,
process.
it will guide you, and it
Yes.
will tell you that there are certain things that you can, that it will not accept. If you put out something in a particular field and it's not acceptable, it stops you right there. Right?
Indeed.
So you can't go any further. So once it's submitted to the portal and it is accepted, then you know that you'll get a registration. Right?
Yes.
And just on a sidebar note, Lois A. Clark is asking, what's the cost to register a business?
Well, all right. So we must make a distinction between company and business name. So the cost to register a business name is $2,500 Jamaican dollars. The cost to register a company is $24,500 Jamaican dollars.
Okay. And how long is registration valid for? Or is it like in perpetuity or something
For
like
a company, because a company is a separate legal person,
Yes.
right? It's in perpetuity unless you do something, unless the directors do something to remove the company, right? A business name, the registration lasts for 3 years, and thereafter you have to renew it.
All right. Just making sure I don't have any more other questions. We like show love to our persons online. They're tuning in, so we like to make sure they feel appreciated and answering the questions that they send. Marsha, cute girl, Louis, JIS, we need a session like this with the NIS. So thank you, Marsha. We will get on that. Appreciate that. All right.
Is that good or bad?
That's great. That means they want to know more about the public service. I mean, it's work.
That's good.
It's good for us.
I hope she doesn't beat up the NIS.
No, man. I mean, there's a lot of them. That's what that we're focusing on
Yes,
the COJ today.
indeed.
But Marsha, we tune in and we just tune in, like our page and so on. You'll see when we have the NIS in studio. We'll try to do it as soon as possible just for your benefit because we appreciate you. All right. Now, Mr. Robertson, I'm going to bring you back in again in terms of, once again, touching on the public sector modernization and transformation process.
Yes, sir.
In terms of, I guess, breaking it, because when persons hear these terms, modernization and transformation, it tends to, it can be a little bit of a turn off because it sounds like an alien or a foreign concept, something that is not relatable. So how are we getting the message to persons out there on the street, just the average Jamaican, to appreciate what the objectives of this program are and how it's going to tangibly benefit the lives of us Jamaican people?
I'll be the first to admit that we need to do more in terms of sensitizing the populace. I'll admit that. Certainly, we have to ensure that we communicate more consistently, even more aggressively, to the persons who do business with the government. The man in the street. You know, we talk
Right.
very often about the man in the street. Who is that person?
Right.
I recall our consultations in relation to the development of the service excellence policy, where we took it to ministries, departments, and agencies. We went in the parishes, to the communities. You know, that was a very all-encompassing exercise. But it also gave us the opportunity to communicate with the general populace in relation to the program, the strategic direction, not just looking at the service excellence side and the fact that this is what the government is doing to improve service delivery in the public sector, but we took the opportunity to speak about the program as relates to the transformation and modernization side of things, and how service delivery being a common thread, because every single, for the avoidance of doubt, every single department, agency, and ministry under the public sector provides a service.
Right.
Whether you're the company's office, you're the NWA with roads,
Right.
or you are the passport office, right?
Right.
Every entity. So let's be clear. But we have to do much more, and we have engaged our communication officer to help us with that. We're trying to augment, resources in that area. We have engaged the GIS for this this project as well, and the GIS is doing such a marvelous job at that. And so we have to do more. I know PR is costly, but we really have to do more. So I'll be the first to admit. And we have to use creative ways of communicating, not just face-to-face, using the social media platforms more frequently.
Just based from where we sit and the work that we do, we know that the government does. There's a lot of work being done, and it runs the risk of basically losing its effectiveness if people are not aware of the benefits that they can access and how it's working. And that's because I can tell you that many persons appreciate when they see us implement these methods that allow us to do business easier, quicker, faster, more efficiently, and so on. So
I just want to make a quick point, sir, since you're on that point, that I'm asking, viewers to kindly send their feedback, in terms of general queries they may have on read the program or ways to improve the program. You can send those comments to PSTMD communications with a S at the end at cabinet.gov.jm.
All right, lovely.
And we'll be willing to, take note of those comments, because we always want to improve.
All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We are inviting your feedback. That's the Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Program. The objective being make it simple and easy to do business with government. Some things may be easier than others, but that doesn't mean that we're not trying to make it as easy as possible for you to do business, for you to access whatever benefits that you need so that you can make your life easier, because that's what the government's role and function is, to work with the citizens to make things much easier and better. Now, Ms. Ramlogan, I'm going to come full circle again as you guys move towards wrapping. I just want you to again just introduce for persons the electronic business registration form, what it's for, what it does, so persons can appreciate the benefits that they will get by taking advantage of it.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, the electronic business registration form will allow you to form or to register either a business name or a company online. What that means is that you will be able to stay wherever in the world you are and undertake the registration. We can either of course, the certificate will be, and that will be generated, will be a soft copy. But if you require a hard copy, we can courier that hard copy of the certificate to you wherever in the world you are. It saves you time, it saves you money, right? And so we invite you to use that form.
Okay, I got a quick question here from Asil Dallas. Can we file company returns and status quo online yet? I don't know if that's your tax administration.
No, that's us. So the electronic business registration form is phase 1, right? And then we're moving, after we've launched our forms, we'll be moving to do compliance forms. So your annual return, your notice of change of registered office, notice of change of directors, notice of change of company secretary. So that is phase 1, Mr. Dallas. Sorry, that is phase 2.
Phase 2. All right, so stay tuned, Mr. Dallas. There's clearly more to come, and as you can keep up with the Companies Office of Jamaica, visit their website, which is orcjamaica.com. You can find them on Twitter, on Facebook, and I suppose Instagram as well. I think social media, they're everywhere.
Yes.
Just look for the Companies Office of Jamaica and you'll see all the different rollout, different initiatives that they're rolling out, and you can get some more information about them and contact them and that kind of thing. All right, so the last word to you, Mr. Robertson. Once again, just let persons know what's really going on insofar as the public sector transformation program. What are its aims, its objectives, and how they will translate to the benefit of us Jamaican people.
Yes, thanks for that. Very simply put, we are about making it easier for persons to do business with the government of Jamaica. Whether you are in Jamaica or outside of Jamaica, simply put. Accessing information, some persons find that to be a very arduous task. We have created the GOJ portal for persons to go to access information. It provides links to other sites across the public sector. So we're about making it easier in that regard. We're about ensuring that we reduce costs, so that at the end of the day, government can have more funds to dedicate to health services. Education will get more. National security, which is a priority, will get more because we are being more efficient in cutting costs. We are also very, very importantly looking at how we do business at the port. I want to make that point. Another area of the doing business, look at trading across borders. We have a very robust trade facilitation program, which we are heavily engaged in. We are about making it easier for persons to export goods. Very importantly, many persons complain bitterly about the difficulties involved in terms of time, number of procedures, and cost. We have just recently launched with the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries, Jamaica Trade Information Portal. If you want to export coffee, you can go to the site, for example, and all the information relating to the procedures, even the law that is applicable to the particular area or good that you're exporting is available on the site. It's a very all-encompassing site. So we're about creating efficiencies in those areas. We're also establishing a one-stop shop in Montego Bay, which will house all the major regulatory entities under one roof at the Montego Bay port, so that if you want goods to be inspected, they can be inspected in one location. We're very excited about that as well. We're in the business of ensuring that we generally look at service delivery across the public sector. Now, that is our raison d'etre as a public sector. It is about delivering services. The service excellence thrust upon which we have embarked is a very far-reaching program. We have engaged all ministries, their MD and their direct departments and agencies in relation to the development of the policy. We are also asking ministries, departments and agencies to develop service improvement plans, because what gets measured gets done.
Exactly.
So we want to see what it is that you are going to be doing as a public entity in terms of improving your services. And we are going to monitor and measure and evaluate. We are aligning that process to the strategic planning process of the government of Jamaica, and ensuring that there is a line item in the budget so that ministries, departments and agencies will know what it is that they'll get in terms of allocation to carry out those service reforms. So we're very serious about that. Those are exciting, game-changing initiatives. We are also looking at improving the electrical inspection process. I did reference that earlier. Again, getting electricity is another indicator under the World Bank's Doing Business report. So we are heavily monitored by international partners. We are establishing a regulatory body working with the Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology so that that area will be efficient. The Electricity Act, which was revised, makes reference to the need to create a regulatory body. And so we're adhering to the provisions of the Act as well. So in a nutshell, we are about achieving service excellence as a public sector. We're very serious about that because at the end of the day, whether you are in Jamaica, going into the Companies Office to register your business, or you're in the diaspora, or you're an investor, in Tokyo, Japan, who know nothing about government operations and Jamaica generally, but want to register your business or want to get a construction permit, we are making it easier to do business here in Jamaica. That's our pledge. And I speak about this development permits. Finally, dealing with construction permits is another indicator under the Doing Business report. So many things.
I can just imagine the scope
but I
of
want
the
to
work.
just make, So an investor, for example, will now be able to go online to complete an application. That application will be seen by the municipal corporation, which has jurisdiction for the parish. So, for example, if an investor in Japan wants to set up a hotel in Sentan, that application can be completed online. If that investor is on the beach with a laptop and has internet connection, he or she can lodge the application. Doesn't have to travel to Jamaica.
Okay.
And that municipal corporation, in this regard, Sentan, as I'm using as an example, will review. It will subsequently move to a referral agency. In many cases, it's NEPA because of the environmental considerations. NEPA will also make the necessary do the necessary approvals online, and it moves to the next referral agency until it is approved. And that investor will be able to see whether or not his or her application has been approved. We are seeking to roll that out in October of this year. There are many game-changing initiatives that we have in the pipeline, and that is another one we are very excited about that you will hear much more about in the coming weeks and months.
All right, wonderful. I mean, it's
called the Jamaica Development Application Portal, JDAP.
So as you can see, there's a lot going on, people. I mean, as you said, as Mr. Robbins said, people tend to be very cynical. And it's very easy to be cynical, but we don't realize that just how many advancements are going on in our public service, especially relative to other countries around the world. We're actually setting the standard in many categories. And personally, need to appreciate this. We're making a lot of strides. It might not seem as quickly, or you might not be hearing about it as fast as you want, but believe me, the work and the passion, most importantly, the passion to raise the standard of how we do business in the public sector is there.
Yes.
And the more you tune in, the more you follow along, the more you get yourself informed and educated about what's happening in the country, you will find that. And you will definitely find something that benefits you in your individual circumstances.
I did say finally, sir, but we must thank the Inter-American Development Bank, the IDB, our key partner, for funding this project and many other projects under the Public Sector Efficiency Program called PSEP. We must thank the IDB for its continued support and commitment to reform in Jamaica's public sector.
All right. Some comments coming in. We're just going to share them. Really appreciate all of you guys. Really do. Monica Marcia said she would love to get a panel like this to interact with our diaspora group at a future date, Jamaica Middle East Diaspora. She said she shared the video. Thank you, Marcia. I really appreciate it. Monica shared it with the diaspora group in the Middle East. And Patricia Spence saying, excellent information from the Public Sector Modernization Unit. This will definitely make it easier to do business in Jamaica. Lois Clark, she was particularly interested in the work in what you say is happening at the ports, because she says, great news, Mr. Robinson, like how my barrel soon comes.
It's at that time of the year. We come approaching that time of the year.
All right. Lee Manikia says, good movement. Really appreciate that. Yes. Chris Dixon saying, listening from Toronto, Canada, really appreciate your eyes and your participation. Really love to hear that. So as you can see, there's lots of persons paying attention watching what's going on, and they're especially intrigued by there's a lot of work going on that they can benefit from. Yes. And we're glad to share that information with you, and we're glad to make that available. So I would like you guys both to, I guess, share information so persons can contact you if needs be, so they can make the link, you know what I mean? As I said, persons want to find out, etc., how to contact you, how to benefit, that kind of thing. Go ahead, Ms. Ramlogan.
So the company's office, the website is www.orcjamaica.com. You can call us 876-908-4419-23.
All right. And you can find them on Instagram, because that's where we all are. Social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you can find them there. Just look for Company's Office of Jamaica. Return, Mr. Robinson.
Yeah, so I did say earlier you can email us at pstmdcommunications@cabinet.gov.jm. You can, even if you're not sure where to find us, you can Google Cabinet Office and it takes you to our website. There are many information that you can garner from the website as well. And so we're going to ask you to try and find some time to read up on our program. We'll be happy to review your comments when emailed. You can call us as well, 946-4504. Straight line. You can call at any time, and we'll be happy to respond to you.
All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Lots of work being done in the public service. You might think it's not exciting, but trust me. Just put that assumption aside, and when you really get into it and get your feet wet with what's going on, there's a lot going on in Jamaica. There's a lot of things happening. We're trying to make it easier to do business so people can start businesses, so they can come out of the informal operation, get into the formal thing, raise the overall economy, and make things happen for the country. That's the goal. That's the end game. And the more you take advantage of this information, the more you play a part in this process. And I'm sure we're glad to have you. I mean, that's the reason why these people are here, putting in the hours, putting in the work to make the opportunity available for you to take advantage of. Right, so the ball is now, I guess, in the court of the persons watching. So it's really over to you. And just like that, it's time for us to wrap. Thank you to everyone who tuned into our discussion, especially those of you who sent in your questions and your comments. We really do appreciate it. And if you sent in a question and we didn't get to answer it, not to worry. We'll be going back through and we'll be able to channel those questions to our guests so they can give you the right information. Remember, our audience plays a major part in our show. So if there's anyone you'd like for us to have in studio, let us know. And we'll try as best as possible to have that person in studio soon. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jamaica Information Service to see who will be in studio next. We do this mostly on Thursdays, but tomorrow is a holiday. So we decided to do that on Wednesday today. I've been your host, Vaughn Davis, and this has been Studio 58A Live. Thank you again for joining us, and please have a wonderful day.